Shalom Israel, Shalom. Kwam Yasharala. Barakatha Yahweh. Barakatha Yahweh Shai. Barakatha Yahweh. Barakatha Yahweh Shai. Barakatha Yahweh. Barakatha Yahweh Shai. Call Halal Yimla Yahweh. Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Wa Rahak Wadash. Mamunya Wa Rahak Wadashka. La the Kwak. Shammai Yasharala Yahweh. Allahayim Nawa Yahweh. Achad, Tawah, Tawah, Amen. Salakia, give me a moment. Cut this fan on. Shalom, Shalom. All right, I did promise a lesson. It's gonna be a series of Egypt. You understand what I'm saying? Is we're us leaving out of Egypt. You know, and that's what it's called. Woe unto Egypt, the series, and it'll probably be a 3 or 4 part series because we ain't got nothing but time. You understand what I'm saying? So we're gonna get right into it. You understand what I'm saying? Now, Egypt is what means bondage, you know? And this place, which we call Babylon, which is aka America, which is also known as Babylon, the Great Babylon, the whore, is also known as Sodom because you have these spirits, these entities, these deities that have consumed this place. The spirit of these places that were in that are in the scriptures. Sodom for all the sodomy and the acts that are that transpire in today. You understand what I'm saying? You know, where it comes to bestiality and homosexuality and you know transgenderism, which also a lot of Babylon has also done. You know, uh, in the Greek Empire, you know, whether like the Statue of Liberty, who is a transgender, it's a man, the rod cut off. You know, so that is symbolic for the for Babylon. You know, this place is a city of Babal, which means confusion, which is Babylon. And Egypt is all is bondage, like I mentioned, you know. And Egypt is where our forefathers were taken into captivity, you know, along with Babylon being uh where we were also taken into captivity, you know. Some of the northern tribe and some of, you know, and most of the southern tribe were taken into captivity. You know, the Assyrian captivity was the majority of Israel, or you know Jerusalem, which is you know the 10 tribes. You know, so and the 10 tribes of consisting of, let's read that. You know, the tribe of Ephraim. You understand what I'm saying? The tribe of Ephraim. You know, let's read that off. Give me a moment, Baba Kushar. The tribe of Ephraim consists of Ephraim, uh, Reuben, Gad, Manasseh, Asher, Issachar, Naphtali, and Zebulon and Simeon. That's the 10 tribes. You know what I'm saying? And the northern tribe consists of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. You know, and this place is spiritual Egypt, for that matter. You know, us being in bondage as the 12 tribes were taken into captivity, you know, because the Pharaoh forgot who Joseph was. And everybody knows the story of Joseph, who was the youngest of Jacob and his favorite, you know, after he was sold into to bondage, to slavery, to captivity, you know, who was, you know, by his own brethren, you know, and but which was all calling and prophecy of the Most High for it ordained to happen. You know, so you know, so Israel can survive a terrible famine and destruction that will come upon the place that place. You know, so um the Pharaoh after Joseph, because Joseph was, right underneath the Pharaoh. You could call him the vice president, you know, and he was in control, of the Pharaoh's matters. So he helped with dreams. He helped, calculate. He dreamt of the famine, helped, you know, calculate and what's the best way to put things in order, to for Israel to survive a 7 year famine. So he was a great man in Egypt. You understand what I'm saying? And but once he perished, and once the Pharaoh died, they forgot who, the other Pharaoh didn't know of Joseph. You know what I'm saying? So as the Hebrews, as Israel started to grow, symbolic for us, we Israel, we like to get out. You know what I'm saying? We love to get out, you know. What our and we multiply. We have kids, and Israel started to grow, and it's symbolic for now. No, Edom has a problem with having children. Other nations don't have many children. If you go to, Moab and Ammon, which is the Chinese and the Japanese, they, if and spiritually, it's a beautiful thing because statistically speaking, women outnumber men five. Well, I think it might be 6 to 1 or 7 to 1 now. It used to be 3 to 1, then it was 5 to 1. It's increased, now the numbers, and but in their custom, they Moab and Ammon, they they used to, if the child wasn't born a male, they would kill him. You know what I'm saying? But that, of course, that law has changed. So, but now that the women population has increased because of that, you know. So, um, it's definitely, damn, I lost my train of thought. But let's get back to the lesson at hand right now. It'll come back to me. It'll flow back. Salaki, forgive me. But let's get back into the lesson. You understand what I'm saying? That lesson at hand, the matter at hand. You know, um, you know, the increase. So that's the point I'm trying to make is the 2/3 are predominantly women. And a lot of women, including the heathens, of Edom or Moab, Ammon, any you know the Hamites, which are so-called Africans, their increase and following the heathenistic customs of Egypt, of spiritual Egypt and spiritual Babylon, spiritual Sodom, are wicked. Women twerking, doing all that. So the majority of women who are not faithful and true will die. You know what I'm saying? Because they make the majority of the 2/3 of this population. Salakia. But Israel in general has increased in numbers, and it's always been the wicked's plan is to destroy Israel to get their birthright back. And as far as this series is concerned, this is part 1 of the series, Woe unto Egypt. You know what I'm saying? So let's get right into it. Because we have increased in the land, and they are, if you haven't heard, they're um starting to use this propaganda machine, this media outlet, which is media is short for medium, which is witchcraft, sorcery, hypnosis, there's predictive programming. They're you putting a spell under you, and now they have spoken and will transition to the fact where first it was a lot of everybody can catch it. Then it got to the point where certain heathens or Edom was catching it. Now it's to the so-called Negro, and Latinos and Native Americans of Israel. Now they're more susceptible of catching this virus. Isn't that ironic? So now people will be in fear and in dread, dreadful fear of being or just being around Israel, which is all planned. You understand what I'm saying? And now you're starting to see Egypt evolve because the fear of the growth of Egypt and just the fear of the awakening, the fear of Egypt coming into its, I mean, not Egypt, Salakia, forgive me, of Israel coming into its own. Now Egypt has gotten this spirit of fear over them, which they have done of the Egypt of old. Pharaoh struck fear into Egypt with sorcery, with witchcraft, with his soothsayers and magicians, and with his mighty left hand, through Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, created fear in the land of Egypt. You understand what I'm saying? And put Egypt to death, throwing babies to alligators, murdering most of them, keeping them in order. Because if you do that and keep them in bondage, beat them, brand them, kill them, then certain people will get in line. And those were people, innocent people, and those were also people that renounced, and didn't heed to the Pharaoh. Those people died, so we're coming back into the land of Egypt where it's almost time for the deliverance. This is where Moses comes into play. You understand what I'm saying? So let's get into it. Who was sent by Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Yahweh, our power, our Father, our Creator, the Creator of all heavens and earth. And the prophets, our apostles, priests, were sent to give the word, and consistently tell the people in Egypt of, who were Israel, of their deliverance, and telling Moses to let my people go, and as stubborn as Pharaoh was, because his heart was hard, his mind was stubborn of the commands of Yahweh, but it was done on purpose so that Yahweh can exact power, El Shaddai, Allah Shaddai, a terrible demon-like power, for him to let the people, the heathens, know who he was and let the name be known, just like the name is being known right now. The name, Yahweh. He exists. He is. You understand what I'm saying? Yahweh Shai, our brother. Don't you get an energy, a power, a feeling when you say it? Yahweh Shai, my brother. Who were the spirits with him created in the foundations of the earth. It feels good, to remember, to know who you are. You are the 12 tribes of Israel. And you're willing to die for that. You're willing to believe wholeheartedly with faith in that. You don't care about anything else because there is a better place after this. And it is your reward, your deliverance. You will get your reward if you're faithful and true. You will be parted through that Red Sea and shown that pathway of that after this long suffering, which is patience, faith and patience of the saints. You understand what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing, our inheritance. Let's go to Exodus. Let's go to Exodus. Let me see. Well, let's just go through the spirit, shall we? Let's go through the spirit. Let's go to chapter. Let's just start off from the beginning, chapter 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt, which is us. Every man and his household came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. These are the brothers that were born of Jacob and Leah, you know. Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. Salakia, 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied and waxed exceeding and mighty, and the land was filled with them. We waxed exceedingly. We were great, exceedingly strong, and we produced in an abundance. And Israel, we're great in everything. We can control what we have with the power, with knowledge, with wisdom, being, and going through the law, statutes, and commandments, and being a great nation with a great power. You understand what I'm saying? and mighty, and the land was filled with them, just like we are today in Babylon, spiritual Egypt. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. And they knew that, just like they know it now from each president, which is symbolic for a king. These wicked queens and harlots that are in the Europe, they know, and they know that we're dominant in boxing, football, basketball, we create, we invent, with medicines and herbs, and we know what to do with the herbs to create great health. We teach our children the way they should go, with morality, spirituality, and what they're afraid of now is the same thing, twofold. They're afraid of the awakening and us teaching our kids, who they are, which is really a two-edged sword, because they stopped the progression of society. They stopped, society and froze it in time. Nobody can do anything. So now the people of this great awakening, can teach their kids who they are. They can teach them the value of Israel, and yes, it's to hide the truth from you when you leave out, their secret place. They're doing everything in secret, but nothing is a secret. The Lord has opened everything up. You understand what I'm saying? And they know it. Let's continue. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we, and we are stronger, valiant warrior people, kings and priests. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us. So get them up and out of the land. So now they're in fear of people following and coming underneath us, just like like today. They are afraid of the people who, and the heathens that are, and the lesser of these nations, waiting for us to arise and regain our strength and our power to follow behind us into battle, into war, into transition of power, So they like, let's do away with them immediately. So now they're coming with their propaganda machine to do the things of old, of Egypt. You understand what I'm saying? Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built Pharaoh treasures, cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. So the affliction didn't mean anything, just like in spiritual Egypt where we are now. Even though they give us these burdensome jobs, and teach us in our public food system to have these, to become a slave into their system and get their crumbs from their table. Even though they afflicted us and tried to indoctrinate us, we still were able to multiply, because no matter how stressed and tired you were, no matter how much of a burden and in bondage you were under, you were able to still multiply and find peace within yourself. You understand what I'm saying? You will still be able to become joyful, in this affliction of life. You understand what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing. And we continuously, exceedingly multiply. And they're grieved about it then, and they are grieved about it now, if you could receive it. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. You understand? Let's look up rigor, shall we? With rigor. With severity, with cruelty. You understand what I'm saying? So they made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, with cruelty. You understand what I'm saying? They hated the children of Israel. They made long suffering of the children of Israel, and they made their lives bitter, with hard bondage in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field. Salakia. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor, with hate. So when they speak, it's like butter. They make everything sound good. They make you feel good. They make you feel what they want you to do. They're sly with the tongue, but they hate you when they speak to you. Because now they can't beat you with a whip like in Egypt, or when we were in bondage in between 16 and 1800. They can't do harsh cruelties to you, so they'll do it to you through the spirit. They'll do it to you through witchcraft. They'll do it to you with putting you into a mental bondage, with stress. They'll do it to you with, going to work and abusing yourself every day for nothing. By putting people that you love against you and to hate you. That's abuse. They made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field, all the service wherein they made them serve with rigor. The king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when ye do the office of midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, it be a son, then ye shall kill. But if him be a daughter, then she shall live. Because women were weaker vessels. Do you understand what I'm saying? Women were weaker vessels, so they were able to be, to fall and succumb to the rule and listen to false philosophies, like the manipulation and the serpent in the garden of Eve, and then with the heritage and the lineage and of being through the male seed, our women would have heathen kids, because there will be no Hebrew males to multiply with. You understand what I'm saying? because the inheritance is on the father's side of which is the seed. You understand what I'm saying? So that was the way to slow the progression of Israel down, to 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 stimulate it, not to stimulate it, but to manipulate it, to cease it, to have it cease. You know, to be stagnant. You understand what I'm saying? Let's continue. But the midwives feared the Most High, and these are the women that are loyal to the soil, the Aquah that are faithful and true, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved them, saved the men children alive. So they took the kids and made sure they didn't die. That goes for the women of Israel that taught these children the right way, that helped them, that nourished them, that covered, that sheltered them. You understand? So they can grow and taught them the way they should go, so they can grow into the men of Israel. You know what I'm saying? And and that's through the fear, the spirit of the Lord. You know, and we shall, and then and not to mention the manipulation of the king, which is Pharaoh, which is symbolic for the higher ups today, who had created Planned Parenthood for and manipulated the women to get rid of the children, like they tried to force them to do in the old. Give them to gators, kill them, kill the babies, cut their throats, hang them. You know, that's symbolic for Planned Parenthood, using protection so you can't bear your seed, putting the wrong things in your body so the children will come out dysfunctional. That's killing Israel. And the king of Egypt called for Salakia, forgive me. And the midwives said unto the Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered, are the midwives come in unto them. Therefore the Most High Yahweh dealt with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared the Most High, that he made them houses, made them shelter, protection, put a hedge over them. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared them, and I read that, and Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took a wife, a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark and bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off to what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him and said, this is one of the Hebrews' children. And this is the end of part 1, and we will continue a part 2 momentarily. Shalom, Kwam Yasharala.